We're straight. Whoa, man, whoa, dude. Okay, whatever. Hi. Oh shit. Here we go. Okay, wait. Immediately wait. You must cease. God damn it! I'm gonna cough a lot during this, probably. Here, this song sucks. Yeah, that song gets pretty loud. Hold on. Yeah, okay, that seems good. Okay, anyway, what does the title mean? What the fuck does the title mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. We're going to be discussing evolution. Oh, come on, bro. What? Okay, never mind. The music stopped. It's fucking stupid. Whatever. We're talking about evolution. Ooh, where'd the cow come from? Ooh, what about this tree? Yeah, these are all great questions. Amazing, fantastic, incredible questions. And I'm going to try to answer them in this live stream. We're going to be looking at the lore of Minecraft today. Now, okay, so a couple things I want to say. Or, I don't know why I said a couple. There's only one thing on my mind I want to say immediately. What the fuck? Okay, please. Okay, maybe I need to close all these 2 unnecessary tabs. Like, bro. Okay. Alright, I think that might be good, hopefully. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna look at the origin of life in Minecraft. Now, that's a pretty complicated question to answer. Like, how could the life in Minecraft be related? I mean, you got life forms in different dimensions. You got life floating around the fucking... Oh, there's diamonds. You got life floating around the fucking end. How can all the Minecraft life be tied together? Now, I'm gonna be honest. I don't actually know if interdimensional life in Minecraft has a common ancestor, so I'm not gonna make that assumption. I'm instead going to assume that there could have been universal common ancestors. Is that more? Wow, it's more diamonds. There could have been universal common ancestors in all 3 dimensions. Last universal common ancestor, or Eluka, is basically the last living organism that every living being in the present day shares ancestry with. We have one in the real world. It was a microscopic organism, chilling at the bottom of the ocean, eating chemical syrup. Chemical syrup? No, chemicals. That's a lot of iron. Chemical soup. Wait, is that one of those fabled iron veins? Oh shit, it might be. Well, whatever. Yeah, we're gonna ask ourselves, what was the first? What was the last universal common ancestor? And oh, that's not good. I think it was a microscopic organism. Now look at this. Look at this. We're in a lush cave right now, right? Look, actually, this is an even better example over here. We know that the life forms in Earth's history use the nutrients. Excuse me. They use the nutrients coming from hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean to provide their food. They were, I think the first cells were prokaryotic cells. They couldn't make their own food, so they had to take in food from the environment in its purest food form. Because, you know, the first life that ever fucked itself into being was just a mash of chemicals, right? A very complicated system, but a very simple mash of chemicals. It couldn't produce its own things. It could only chemically react to things in the environment, because that was the status quo. In early Earth, while before life chemistry was still complicated, wasn't nearly as complicated as the first cell. But chemical reactions were the currency in that world. So, quote-unquote food or chemical fuel would react with other chemicals in the little hydrothermal ventilation plumes in the area around, and a whole bunch of jazz would happen. Now, it would just so happen that pores and rock, well, that's the leading theory, that pores and rocks were great sort of hotels for randomly floating chemicals, because these individual molecules did not have any will of where they went. They were just floating in the sea. So when they mingled with others, it was pretty random. They couldn't go places. But in pores, they could collect. And because of fantastical, very simple pre-life chemistry, a cell was constructed by sheer chance. And it had the ability to replicate itself. And it did. And the instructions for that replication could be subject to... Hold on. I don't care about aha. Please.
Heat-induced insomnia. That was my aha moment. Bed sheets that keep you cool.
Ow. It coughs so hard and my throat's gonna bleed. Jesus. Anyway, yeah, I really hope that this is, like, actually being gotted in the fucking... Okay, I think... Okay, it is. Okay, cool. Just going through some ads right now. Yeah, so the first life forms, were being filled by, quote-unquote food. And I think that lava could have some of that nutrients in it, because the nutrients came from the earth in the mantle. Now, it might not come from this specific thing, actually. It might come from magma... It might come from magma blocks. Let me find an environment, because these exist in Minecraft. I didn't think about this. I tried to make a theory live stream a bit earlier, but I kind of, fucked up the stream because I forgot about it while I was watching YouTube, and that was not super cool. So, actually, it wasn't a stream. It was a recording, but it was like an hour long. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this again, which I did and am, I was going to make it a live stream, which I did and am. And hello. How you doing? Anyway, yeah, so we're going to... Okay, I can't find it right now because it's probably, like, really far underground. But just know that there are little caves that have a high amount of water in them. They have a high local water level. And I think, because they have magma blocks in them. Magma blocks are native to the overworld as well as the nether. And I think that that's some hydrothermal vent action going on, except in Minecraft form. So there's not like a chimney. But microscopic organisms could have been created in those chimneys. And that led to the first life, and therefore the first universal common ancestor in the overworld. That's pretty cool. Now, what was probably the first life to appear? Honestly, I'm gonna think the lichens. I think lichens are a strong candidate for the first life form because they're everywhere. Although they're not like exceedingly common, you're definitely gonna most likely find one in any cave you come in, but not that many. They're there. Also, they have some sort of glowing property. So, I don't think that lichens were the last universal common ancestor. I think they evolved from it. So, last universal common ancestor was still microscopic. A branch of it, branched off to form a colony of organisms. And they lived underwater, but they can also live on land or in dry air. I think that was an adaptation. They went from the water to the land. And I think Luca, for the overworld, evolved into something else that we're going to get into. Or maybe this is Luca, but I don't know. Anyway, the second being on our timeline is, I think, Moss. Now, Moss is a great candidate for when life started to kick off because look at it. It's everywhere. A very peculiar property of moss is that when you bone meal it, it can spread and infect stone, like all different types of stone, but not just stone. It could also affect dirt and grass, and it can't affect clay, I think, which is quite interesting. So what I'm thinking, because dirt and clay are pretty related. When clay was added, or wait, not when it was added. Fuck, it was added a long time ago. But you can dry dirt and turn it into clay, not in a furnace, but if you physically put like a dripstone under it, you can dry it out as the dripstone drips the water from it onto, say, a cauldron or something stupid, and the dirt will turn into clay. I think that not only is that draining the moisture out of the dirt, it's draining the nutrients. So clay is much more barren for life. Although there's still nutrients in it, I'm sure. It's just not as hospitable to early life. So moss decided to take up residence in the stone. And also there are underground pockets of dirt. They're not that common though. They're here and there. Is that more fucking diamond? No, it's lichen. Bro, why they gotta make lichen so similar to diamonds? Oh, here it is. Okay. This might be super close to the... Yep, nope, never mind. That's really close to the surface. But you could just take my words at, like, face value. It's okay. It's okay. Dirt does exist on the ground. Or in undergrounds. So I think that the... Oh, there's more diamonds. The mosses and other smaller organisms like lichen and even microscopic ones drain the nutrients from the grounds. And I mean, if you think about it, there is water and clay here. So if if this was dirt, it didn't get its water completely consumed because it's still there. And that would make sense. I mean, what comes in eventually has to come out, you know. Let's just call this water infected and let's not drink it. But this is probably where these little pools is where early organisms thrive. The nutrients, when they evolve... Hold on. Excuse me. When they evolved to digest nutrients and not just take in food that had just been given to them by sheer chance, they were able to process the dirt and separate it from the raw minerals of the dirt that couldn't easily be consumed and the water, which, you know, all life needs. Or I guess not a lot of animals literally drink water, but you know what I mean. Anyway, we've established that the first life form was a lichen, or the first block was a lichen, or something similar to it at least. I don't know if it glowed. And the second life form was something similar to what is now moss. And if you think about... excuse that really stupid voice crack. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I've been coughing a lot. If you think about it, moss could easily spread all through the underground in caves. Fucking diamonds, Jesus. It could easily spread all throughout the ground in caves, and it could take up residence in the whole of Minecraft. Maybe it could carry the lichen along with it, as it rooted through stone and kind of fucked around everywhere. So yeah, moss was probably the second organism, and directly from moss, a few new beings formed. I think one of the first one, obviously immediately with moss came the moss carpet. I think moss carpet might have actually came first before the moss block. But whichever way, moss is moss. Shorter tall grass and then actual tall grass were probably next. Taller grass probably came a bit later, a few thousand, maybe a few million years later, as far as the timeline of evolution is concerned, because it takes a lot more energy to upright yourself against the pull of gravity. I mean, it's got to take some energy in order to do this. And also, I don't know why life down here is green, which is a really weird thing. Look, these vines definitely have leaves. And the leaves are green. And in the real world, leaves are green because of chlorophyll, which is something that they need to turn sunlight into energy through photosynthesis. But there's no sunlight down here. So I don't know why the plant life is green. There's no reason for it to be green. Green. At least as not as far as I'm concerned. I cannot talk. But you know, it's Minecraft. Magic exists in Minecraft, so you know maybe magic has affected the chain of evolution in some way. It probably has. I definitely do not understand. Well, it definitely has in regards to the skulk, and I think the skulk is too mysterious and complicated for me to fit in directly. So if I do get into it this stream, it's going to be much later. But Luna, shut up. She's about to bark at the fucking door like a genius. Anyway. Wait, hold on. I have a test. Can moss convert tough? It can. Okay, so these are definitely suited for the underground. The moss. It can take over tough, deep slate, stone. It can't take over clay. An interesting detail. And it can't take over water. Another interesting detail. Maybe the balance is off in them, but I don't. Maybe stone is just an easier medium to overtake. That might be it. Excuse me. But yeah, next life form, I think the grass. You know, I think the seeds started with the grass. They reproduce somehow through the moss or airborne, just throwing their seeds out into the fucking wind, and then they hit another plant, sexual reproduction 101. They were able to reproduce in the moss somewhere, but maybe some of the seeds got underwater. And since they're seeds, they got a little starter kit already. And maybe some of those pioneering species were able to actually germinate in clay underwater and were able to sprout into small drip leaf. And then those drip leaf obviously evolved into the greater drip leaf. That's where that came from. Anyway, there's another few organisms in the Lush Cave. If this is the origin of life in the overworld, because these caves seem like they've been around for eons. You know, I've just been preaching for a while how I still very much think that lush caves are the origin of life. I think the animal life came a bit later. But let me see. So an interesting thing. I think that maybe, right? Maybe, because look at this. Oh, hey, there's an amethyst. Look at this. This right here. This. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, okay. So this azalea shrub, right? The flowering azalea shrub and the spore blossom. They're both pink. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. It doesn't have the yellow dot inside of it. I think they do have a common ancestor though. A ways back. I don't know how related the blossom is to the glowberries. But I do think okay, so I think that the blossom came first. And its spores obviously helped it reproduce throughout the whole of the underground. But some of those seeds all the time hit the ground. And I think that this is a ground version of the spore blossom because like look at it. It's a shrub. Now, a spore blossom behavior is that they always latch to the ceiling. I think that the purpose of branches here is to give them another anchor. Maybe more of the spore blossoms on this azalea, or maybe more of the azalea flowers on this shrub are hanging down than up, but there is a texture on the top, so I don't know. Maybe they evolved to point upright as well in every direction, and it didn't matter for a while. But anyway, yeah. Also, it seems very unlikely to me that... Look at this. It's wood. There is wood here. There's some woody texture here as well. Maybe it evolved independently, though. It probably did evolve independently, but there's a possibility that the shrubs and the vines are related because of this woody substance. And I don't know. Also, let me examine the textures of the leaves. No, those leaves are bigger. Okay, I don't know. But there's that. I do think that the vines evolved at some point from the moss, obviously. From something. I don't know. That's not super important. What's important is that we pretty much have the whole of the underground. Oh, by the way, vines also came in the mix somewhere down here. They evolved to live on the sides of things. Yeah, there are vines down here somewhere. If I could prove my points, that would be great. Oh, axolotls! Oh, that's kind of important. The origin of animal... the origin of animal life. But not that first. First, we're going to go up to the surface. Now, there is a peculiar property. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, sure. There is a peculiar property with lush caves in that every single one, or I don't know about every single one, but an amount of them have azalea trees. This is a really big underground system. Oh, by the way, here's the little underwater pools I was talking about. This could be the origin of life. Anyway, where the fuck is the tree? Well, it's got to have land, so we should probably... this is huge! Hot shit, it just keeps going. And going? We're underwater right now. This is not super ideal. I think it's ending. We should go over here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it's extended over here. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, the lush cave's burning now. That's Minecraft generation for you. 101. Pretty interesting. Okay, whatever. In every lush cave, there is a tree that is on the surface, but its roots lead directly to the lush cave, into it. Or not, maybe not directly, but they lead into it. I think that what happened there is that some variant of the azalea shrubs, or actually the azalea shrubs, may clonally reproduce within the moss. There's a lot of shrubs here without any flowers. I mean, they're rarer, but that's interesting. Anyway. Oh, vines. Cool. I was right. They also reproduce in the spores. I think that they might be somewhat related still, but I don't know. Anyway, they live in moss. They can be planted on moss, among other things, but they're suited for the moss. They could have seeds in the ceiling moss, and they could germinate and reach up with the help of the moss, up and up and up through the stone, turning it into dirt somehow. And it goes all the way up to the surface and emerges into the open world. And a big thing here, is that the open overworld, like above the water, there's no ceiling and there's no cave walls. So even though the largest of lush caves were the largest of lush caves and they weren't that enclosed, I think that it was much better in the overworld for them to become full trees because okay. Thinking, fuck. What the fuck was I gonna say? Oh yeah, in the underground, the whole environment is much closer together. So, I think during the era of the Lush Cave, before there was on the land, or still now, but it started during the Lush Cave era, there was maybe something similar to mycelium. Not the actual block mycelium, but the real world thing mycelium. Oh, shit. Here we go. Mycelia is something that exists in the real world, in forests. in the root network. It connects different trees and plants together to form a vast forest ecosystem under the ground. They exchange things like nutrients and maybe some signals to each other. Suggestions like, hey, you should stop growing, or here, repair more. I'm giving you this shit to do it. Which is how things like stumps can stay alive even though they have no way of getting their own nutrients except for their roots. I meant except for the roots as in water. But yeah, obviously the roots are connected to the network and they're given nutrients that way directly. So yeah, I think that the moss here has some sort of network within it. And it helps all the life forms in here live together as one ecosystem. So if an azalea shrub were to become a tree, I mean, right here it wouldn't matter. But generally, if it were to become a tree, it would damage smaller ecosystems because of its size, or smaller caves. Like this one. If an azalea tree were to spawn in this room, it would close off the whole area, and spores couldn't spread, and fucking shit would die, and it would just not be a good time. The vines couldn't creep, the grass couldn't grow. The only thing that would be there is the moss, but the moss is I'm pretty sure the moss lives symbiotically with all this stuff, although it doesn't really need it. I don't know what moss does. But anyway, so signals are given to shrubs to tell them, hey, you should probably not become a full thing. And they need direct help from players. I think like bone meal is like a fucking steroid. It's like a drug to them, where then they can become full trees. On the surface, maybe a select few of the shrubs over history were able to ignore this parameter just by mutation, and they were able to turn into whole trees. They're pretty rare, but they do exist. Anyway, a pretty interesting thing. Now that we've established that the first life form on the surface of the overworld was an azalea shrub that technically it carries through the mycelial network, seeds and spores and all that stuff up to the surface. Or maybe not directly through the network, but it somehow carries them up. I think the most obvious thing would be grass. Not grass blocks, but the taller grass. And the moss. But moss doesn't really exist too much up here. I think, though, this is really interesting. This specific forest, it's an old growth pine taiga, right? Yeah. But these are based, they're literally, oh wait, no, this is a spruce taiga. I'm not talking about this one. I am talking about a mega taiga, though. Locate biome, mega, old growth pine taiga. Let's go here. Yep, here we are. This is the pine taiga. The difference is subtle, but I think over here, right? These are full spruce trees. Because, they're kind of like giant Christmas trees. They're still 2 blocks tall, but their leaves cover much more of the tree. Over here, the leaves only cover the very top of the tree. Kind of like redwoods, a little bit. Which is why I really like these. Redwood is my favorite type of tree, and this is fucking awesome. Oh, there's an azalea! Okay, so moss came up with the azalea. And I think there was a diversification here, because look at this. Mossy cobblestone. It might not seem like it's a living block, but there's something alive on it, obviously, the moss. It's in the chain of evolution. Now, it's crafted with vines, so I think that maybe some sort of vine came up with here and spread to these, but it might have also been a moss thing. It's mossy cobblestone, but it's probably just vines that have adapted to the cobblestone. I don't know how the crafting recipe works. I don't fucking know. But anyway, the most direct thing here is the grass. I think the taller grass, See, this is a tricky one. I'm having trouble deciding what the closest ancestor to this was. It could be that grass and moss were so closely related that it didn't really matter. So I'm just gonna go with that. But anyway, grass blocks are just the first, the other than the actual tree, they're the first thing to spread out. And in the areas where there's these taigas and these natural rock formations, these rocks were covered with the moss. Anyway, back into the taiga. So yeah, we got things in here. Ferns. We got ferns. Also, an interesting detail with redwoods, they are some of the oldest trees on the planet. They can live for thousands of years. And their forests are really ancient as well. They're like old. Some of the trees were still uber old when Jesus was doing his whole thing wherever the fuck that was, somewhere in Eurasia, I think. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know where ferns came. Well, obviously, I think that ferns came from grass. I mean, let's be honest here. Ferns probably came from grass, which is how there can be taller ferns, the super ferns, kind of like super grass. Anyway, that's a little thing. One of the bigger ones though is flowers, and I'm pretty sure that flowers evolved independently much later, when the bee was introduced to the world, the natural pollinator of the bee. But anyway, there is something else that I want to discuss. A biome, if you will. Locate biome. Yeah, sure, mushroom fields. Let's find a mushroom field, folks. What the fuck? Okay, it would be great if you could, like, find the thing for me. Oh, great, thanks. How's my single-player world lagging? Okay, I don't know. I should probably, like, turn on the fucking mute. Oh, please, let me turn it. Ample Time by C418. Cool. Nope, never mind. The thing wasn't working. Great. Bro, what is with my computer? It's alright, it's alright. It's fucking cool. It's chill. Just let me... Just, please. Why the fuck is it being so difficult? Load the tab, please. Okay, you know what? Whatever. I'll just ignore you. Here we are at the Mushroom Island. I called it the Mushroom Island. I guess it's technically the Mushroom Island, or the Mushroom Fields. And this is huge! Holy shit, this is a big one. Okay, so what I think happened here is, there was a second being that emerged onto the surface. Maybe directly through the water, instead of tunneling through the ground. That was maybe a more advanced form of the mycelium. Or not more advanced, but a different form of the mycelium. This island is huge. Holy shit. Bro, wait, how big is this thing? Is this the end of it? Okay, there's one end. Please tell me this is... Goes a little bit more. It keeps fucking going. It keeps going! Okay. No, that is, that's a... This is a pretty big mushroom island. I'm not gonna lie to you. What the fuck is in this chest? Nothing, as usual. Okay, cool. But yeah, I think. Okay, so here's my idea. Both mycelium and grass spread onto dirt, but I think. Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious that mycelia had the shorter straw here. It came onto islands alone. And it was pretty rare. And if it did make landfall, it was outcompeted by the sheer force of the moss descendant grass. So, yeah, there's that. Here's the fucking thing. I think the mycelia is related to the mushrooms that are found in caves underground as well. The underground mushrooms are probably the first mushrooms. There's a really interesting detail, though. In the nether, there are also mushrooms. I do not know why this is. It could be that the mushrooms are very closely related to the fungus, and the mushrooms don't actually come from the overworld, but they instead come from the nether. They didn't originate here. They were from the nether's last universal common ancestor. They diverged from the fungus. I think of mushrooms and fungus in Minecraft as different classifications. Very close, but moderately different. Like insects and birds. They're both animals, but they're pretty diverse. Or maybe not like, maybe more like birds and geckos. Yeah, okay, whatever. You know, because they're both kind of related to dinosaurs. But anyway, actually, let's go to the nether. Obsidian. And fire. Get me the fuck out of here. What the? Okay, whatever. Here we is in the nether. Okay, so this is a pretty bad spot, but I think there are mushrooms in here too, maybe? Oh, never mind, this is not a pretty bad spot. Okay, there's a really interesting thing with the nether life as well, and I want to get into that a little bit. For example, there's the Strider. I don't know, I have absolutely no idea what the Strider is descended from. I think there should be more wildlife in the nether, though. Because technically, magma cubes are not undead, so they are living creatures. And they're completely tolerant on the lava. They actually spawn from it. So I think that magma cubes are maybe silicate-based life forms. Which is a really interesting prospect in the real world. Or not prospect, but a concept in the real world. Fucking silicon-based life. Beings from the rocks, I guess. All life on Earth is carbon-based, but maybe in Minecraft there exists silicon-based life forms. Because, I mean, lava would be, or magma would be a pretty cool place for them to... Though, two of the same exact sound effect played back-to-back. But here we are, at the heart of life in the nether. The Crimson Forest. And, holy shit, this place is cool. It's my favorite nether biome by far. Vastly outbeating the Warped Forest. The Warped Forest is kind of mid. This feels alive. It feels very alive. We also got a same general shape as the brown mushroom. And I guess the red mushroom as well. The fungus here. All the little cap mushrooms. They're all cap mushrooms. So they're definitely related. I think the piglins, wherever those are, because they're not spawning. I think I have to be in game mode in order for the game to register my exit. Yep, here they are. But yeah, we got these. What I think is interesting is that you would think that life native to the nether would be fire resistant. But the piglins and hoglins are not. And also, they're pretty similar. And they form an ecosystem with the fungus. The hoglins eat the fucking fungus, the red fungus specifically, and the piglins eat them. And this is a losing battle. I'm surprised these guys haven't learned that hoglins don't like warp fungus. They could use them in their hunts. Run to the fungus! Oh, there you go. Or maybe they do seek refuge in fungus. I don't know. But, yeah. But there's also the warped fungus. Now, I don't think that... Okay, this is really interesting. Netherlife is very complicated. Probably because part of it incorporates magic into its evolution. That being the warped forest attracts Endermen very much. I don't know why that is. It could be because yeah, I don't know why that is. Maybe it's corrupt or something. Maybe the frequency of Endermen coming there to fuck around affected the wildlife there. But I do know that the Striders, like, they eat the warped fungus. Why would they eat the warped fungus? Because before I thought about the Striders, my mind was like, okay, I think the crimson fungus came first, and then the warp fungus came later as the Endermen fucked around with it. But no, I think the now I don't fucking know because the Striders like that shit. Why? Why do you like it? What? Okay. Whatever. The Nether's a whole other oyster to try to crack. I actually want to be in game mode because I like seeing the Striders. They're one of my favorite mobs in the entire game. I might actually have to rank my favorite mobs. You know, I'm gonna post a mob tier list on Twitter, and then yeah, Twitter. Oh boy. Yeah. Anyway, so what I actually think happened is that the Nylium, very similar name to mycelium, diversified into the two groups. But I think there was a unified mycelium at one point, and as it... Okay, it's really weird, because there's two variants of warped fungus, but there's also two variants of mushrooms. So I don't know if... Well, obviously the mushrooms split from each other and the fungus split from each other. I guess it's just a coincidence, though. Okay, so we had some sort of mycelium, maybe the mycelium that exists in the over... Okay, so there can be not extinct life forms, not extinct organisms that just don't live anymore. They're not alive anymore. They haven't gone extinct, but they have been either out-competing is how you make something extinct. You know what? They're technically extinct anyway, but they're not extinct in the way that, oh, they were killed off by some sort of other creature, you know, as I said, outcompeting them to extinction. But they just evolved into something else. So their descendants weren't entirely killed off. Their descendants are alive today, they're just a different organism, and they don't have their form anymore. Their form doesn't exist in present day as it did in the past. It exists in a different form. But you could say that it's still quote-unquote them, so they haven't gone extinct. But whatever. Doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. we had some sort of descendant of the Nylium branch off from what would become mycelium. I think during this branch off, mushrooms were kind of, you know, torn between the two, while fungus were more closely related to the Nylium. So, when they did split, the mushrooms were able to kind of fend for themselves in the nether. They can make their own root systems through netherrack, as you see patches of them here and there. Kind of like how real mushroom clusters work, except they actually rely on the mycelium of the forest, so I don't know how... You know what, maybe netherrack has mycelium in it closer to mushroom patches. They do exist in patches. These also exist in patches for some reason. The crimson ones. Not the warped ones, even though the warped have the actual growth and also the sprout. I don't fucking understand life in the nether. It's stupid. It's really complicated. That's not stupid. I love it. But yeah. Shit. What the fuck? Now that is interesting. Yeah, let's go back to examining. Still understand the shadows. I'm gonna have to dedicate animal life to its own little theory. Like, what was the first living animal in Minecraft? And I'm not even gonna touch on the Enderman, because I don't understand what the fuck is up with the Enderman. They're obviously not true biological entities. There's magical beings, and then there's more scientifically based beings. And that might be the problem here. The Nether is a completely different dimension. There are different rules here. So I don't... I think that, you know, science and biology won't completely cover the diversity here. Maybe there are magical invisible connections that aren't just ancestral. Like, an ancestral connection would be between grass, or between the azalea and the trees in the world. It would be between moss and oak trees. Moss, through a very complicated chain of evolution, reached oak trees. They're connected by a thread of evolution. Or by a bridge of evolution. In the Nether, there could have been magical powers at play that connected beings that were very far from each other on the branches of evolution. Like the mushrooms and the fungus. Maybe as the fungus diverged, it encouraged the mushrooms to diverge, not out of any, like, biological encouragement, but by a magical connection to them. Somehow. I don't know. I also don't know if glowstone is alive. Look at this shit. The Nether is very clearly a more magical dimension than the overworld. Not to say that there's no magic in the overworld, but there's clearly more magic in the Nether. Which might, you know what? It's not going to explain these fucking things. I have no... These are clearly more based in biology. The Striders. They aren't like magma cubes. The magma cubes, yeah, those are more magical entities than biological ones. The silicate-based life thing, that's more of an eh. It's probably not exactly how shit worked out, but these... these are very clearly living. And they have some sort of growth on them that protects them from the lava. Actually, wait, hold on. Let me try something. Yeah, okay, they're completely immune to lava. Never mind. So yeah, maybe it's to help with buoyancy. Their feet. I'm surprised they don't, like, sleep. Not a whole lot of mobs sleep, actually. I guess bats nap from time to time. Oh, here they are! The mushrooms! Oh boy, these mushrooms. What to do? But yeah, I think there is some sort of magical influence. You may not like that, though. You may be like, oh, what the fuck? Well, you cannot deny me that there are life forms that aren't undead. They're biological, but they also have magical power. Like the Enderman. Clearly, the Enderman has evolved from something. And clearly, the chorus fruit, that's a plant. It's in the realm of discussion for this video. But what could its ancestor have been? How could it reproduce to all the islands except for the main one? Why is it not at the main island? And also, how does it teleport you when you eat the fucking fruit? It's very biological, but there are magical properties into it. There's magic at play with evolution and the fucking phenotypes of beings. Or not phenotypes, those are like attribute characteristics of the physical appearance or something. Maybe attributes of the properties of the life form. I don't understand. I do not understand. How the fuck? Especially if you disagree with me. But you know what? If you disagree with me, fuck you. This isn't necessarily... Oh, cool. This isn't like completely in ground or within grounds of the scope of evolution, but it is in the more sciencey lore of the game. Look at the basalt delta. Now, it's covered with basalt. If you know a thing or two about basalt, that might be somewhat alarming. Also, there's always ash flying, and listen for these sound effects. Listen. We'll just keep flying through. I love the. This is my second favorite nether biome, behind the Crimson Forest. But yeah, we'll keep flying, listening for that sound. Mushrooms can grow in basalt. Oh, do you hear that? I'll shut up. That one. That sound effect and variants of it. There's that echoing sound. I think that could be attributed to the nether being a very large cave. And then there's the radometer scratching. I don't know what the scratching is. It could be like purely like for the player. But that squeaky, crunchy grumble in the distance. I don't know how to describe it. Listen for it again. It's actually... Okay, that's one of them. It's actually pretty rare sound is what I was going to say, but it just started... I was like, oh, it's probably going to start playing right when I start saying the word, so I decided to say it fast. But there it was. Oh, also, you know, the root system of the mushrooms has to, you know, be pretty strong to, you know, I just have a feeling that under natural circumstances, a normal plant wouldn't really survive in the places that I would think a mushroom would. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Anyway, yeah, you hear those sounds. It sounds like an eruption in the distance, the very, very distant distance. Now think of it. Think of this. Think of this. The Nether is a giant cave. Presumably it goes on forever. There's no end to it. Like the overworld. A lot of people think that Minecraft is a planet, like a spherical planet. I disagree. I don't think the Earth is flat, but I do think that the Minecraft world is flat because it's well, first of all, it's literally flat. One of the big reasons why our Earth can't be flat is because of the spherical motion of the sky. And Minecraft does have a spherical motion of its sky, but that's more of a gameplay mechanic to make the player feel more at home because the sky goes under the ground, which would be a problem if Earth were flat because how the fuck would the sky go beneath the ground? That doesn't make any sense, but in Minecraft it does because it's a video game. Anyway, yeah, there's not really a whole lot of actual evidence as to the Minecraft world being a sphere. All the evidence says that it's, you know, flat. Because, the fucking... If you were to go further from the quote-unquote equator, which is basically everywhere since the sun always goes directly over you, then eventually the sun should start to go in the other direction and sink towards the horizon as it goes on in its day, right? Not like the rising and setting of the sun, but like the path that the sun takes should dip towards the horizon, as it does at the poles of the Earth, because the sun never sets or never rises for months at a time at the poles in their polar circles. For at least one day in the circles. But in Minecraft, that doesn't happen. There's no evidence other than evidence pulled from our world and arbitrarily applied to Minecraft to say that it's a planet. I think that Minecraft is flat, and it's because you know, in magic, there's a lot of science for magic. Is there a lot of science for these things? Fucking striders. Well, there is science for striders, but I don't know what they evolved from. Maybe the bones in the Nether. I have a hint, but I'll look at those later. Anyway, the basalt delta. There's eruptions that play in the distance. And if the Nether is near infinite in size, and it's a giant cave, eruptions that happened long ago, or that happen at present day, but they're just extremely far away, the sound could take ages to reach your place. Even if they were recent, they would take ages. But eventually they would arrive, and the eruption sounds that play in the basalt delta do sound very ancient. Now, interestingly, they don't play in other biomes, but that could be because of their ambience. Let's listen for some sort of eruption sound in the wastes. That could be one. That grumbling. It's really similar to the grumbling in the basalt delta. Now, my reason for why these sounds aren't heard in the other three biomes and why I was eager to find them in the other wastes is because of the ambient noise that is produced in those other three biomes. Silsand Valley, I'm not super sure about, but ghasts are pretty common there, and there's a lot of soul sand, which may have something to do with souls and those producing their own sounds. Also, mobs and skeletons and stuff are much more common in there. Also, the forests just have a lot of life in them, so they will easily drown out the distant noises of eruptions. But basalt deltas, I think, are ancient sites of very, very powerful volcanic activity. It may be the reason why the bottom of the Nether has a bunch of lava. Or actually, no, I have no. Maybe the Nether was always full of fucking lava. But from the ground, whoosh, fucking whoosh, man. It went. Okay, these might be just a flaw of world generation, but the blackstone deposits could be the foundation for a downwards up eruption, and the lava, as it rapidly cooled, turned into basalt, trailing upward because that was where it was going. And this is pretty flat up here, the ceiling of the Nether, but it is also made out of basalt. Now, obviously, this is an issue, but I don't think that the Nether roof exists canonically in Minecraft. It's bedrock, and you know, it's not super clear what the fucking hell Nether is. The overworld is not above the Nether, I think. First of all, the achievement Subspace Bubble is a pretty interesting hint. Why it's subspace maybe for below, but I don't know. You're accessing it through a portal. There are different dimensional properties here. You can't activate an end portal in the Nether. And you can't, well, yeah, that alone should be a problem. I mean, why is that? Fuck, stupid. Also, respawn anchors and beds work differently. The complete lack of being able to use a bed would imply that there's absolutely no night and day in the Nether. I mean, if it's just the overworld, then sun and moon should still exist, right? Well, then why can't you sleep in a bed? I mean, clocks don't work. Why the fuck don't clocks work? They should tell you the time. But in this dimension, they can't latch onto anything. Because this dimension doesn't have a day-night cycle. It's all underground. All of the dimension is underground, quote-unquote underground. What we think of as empty space, that could all just be filled with matter in this dimension. But there's still a downward pull. And honestly, I have no idea what's above or below the bedrock. Maybe there's more things that exist in the Minecraft universe in an abstract sense above them. There could be more stuff that we don't even get to experience in any form in the base game or in any of the games or in any of the anything. Just above the bedrock in the Nether or below it or below the bedrock in the overworld, there could be something completely wild and different. There could be spheres, but we never know because the bedrock makes it completely impossible to pass through. So I guess that's outside the scope of the video. We don't have to worry about what's past the bedrock in any of the dimensions. I guess technically not the end, though, because that's... But yeah. Some sort of eruption from below happened in the basalt deltas. I don't know if there's a whole lot more plants I can cover. I guess the jungle, but that could just be chalked up to the tree, the azalea tree turning into the oak tree. The oak tree having its larger variant. And, you know, first you got the oak tree turning into swamp trees, turning into mangrove trees. Second of all, you got the a variant of the oak trees eventually turning into a taiga tree. And also a savanna tree. Then you got that taiga tree to turn into a mega spruce tree. And then that spruce tree to turn into a pine, which are still closely related, but they're different species technically. Subtle differences, but they're there. Then you got the oak tree to turn into the dark oak tree, and then into the jungle tree. Maybe. Or maybe the oak tree turned into a jungle bush, and then that jungle bush turned into the fucking jungle tree. I don't really care. Cocoa beans have obviously evolved from the thing. The wood of, well, not evolved from the wood, but they evolved somewhere. Maybe from the vines. I don't know. You got the foods as well. You got pumpkins. Pumpkins and melons could be variants of wheat seeds. They're fruits. They may have evolved from flowers. Wherever flowers came from, they probably evolved independently from azalea trees. I'm sure of that much. Because I don't see how a whole tree can just evolve into one singular flower again. So yeah, then the flowers diversified into their own thing. And then... oh, there's a lot of gold in here. Those were the days. They're not generated yet. Oh no, what we got in here? Got that, it's pretty good. Pretty good. What the fuck? Oh, what's in there? Got ancient debris. Diamonds! That's pretty cool. Is this one of those treasure bastions? I think it is. Yeah, this is a treasure bastion. Cool. Yeah. And then the vegetables and fruits and all the foods that you eat in the game, Either evolved from flowers or evolved how normal vegetables evolved. I guess. Yeah, there's a thing down here. God damn! It's not even broken. Why is there so much quartz? Hey, bud. I'm sorry. That's not cool of me. I apologize. I don't really apologize. No, I'm just fucking around in Minecraft at this point. Yeah, that's the chain of evolutions. So sorry. That's the chain of evolutions. Thanks for tuning into that shit. Probably gonna make one about animals in the future. It's interesting how hoglins have frills on their back, actually. I don't think normal... Oh, whatever. Yeah, thanks for tuning into the shit. Catch ya, smell ya,